I don't know.
Why is everybody talking like that?
I don't know. Shouldn't
I know this is only my second week, but
a common theme of the show is me blowing the open. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Vergecast, a show from your friends at The Verge. I like to think that we're your friends. I'm Nilay Patel. To my right is Dieter Bone.
Hello.
To my left is Sean O'Kane.
hi.
Sean was here last week. I was not here last week, but Sean was here.
No.
Rookie cast.
It was
Yeah,
a rookie cast. But Sean is going to be here for a minute, and then another Vergecast rookie, Jake Kastrenakes, is going to magically swap in for Sean.
Yeah.
But then
He's worked for us for like 20 years.
Yeah, Jake is. We're laughing. Jake is not a rookie.
Jake was the Verge's first test tube baby.
we
Designed
created,
specifically to hit news.
yeah, we created Jake in a lab.
Oh, he's in the room right
he's
here.
in- he's-
It's really creepy.
We literally Jake, turn around so we can literally talk behind your back. and then in the hype seat,
Big deal.
Oh, yeah.
big deal, big day, big experience for us all. Kaitlyn Tiffany,
Hi.
there she is.
Hi.
Yeah.
We're clapping. I'll clap. So
That was a
you.
meager response, I bet.
Wow.
Well, there's only 3 people in the room.
yeah.
Kaitlyn.
And there's microphones. So if we clap on the microphone, then John will get mad at us.
So, if you are a Verge experiencer, is that a phrase? If you experience the Verge,
if you've been
if you're a Verge
activated by the
influencer,
Verge brand,
you know that we often use social media. That's a thing that we do. And the person that you might think in your mind uses social media for the Verge is usually Sam Sheffer.
Yeah.
But what is true is that Sam has a compatriot, a partner, a younger, better, cooler Sam.
Oh, wow.
And that is Kaitlyn, who just started with us.
true.
So you're like 3 months in now.
Yep.
And Kaitlyn, I say this, I say this in all sincerity. Kaitlyn maintains one of the best Twitter feeds at The Verge.
Yeah.
yeah.
It is a dark journey into Kaitlyn's mind. And that mind is constantly experiencing True Detective and being pissed
Well,
about it.
Yeah.
Also Pretty Little
True.
Liars, right?
Yeah, it's like one part True Detective, one part Pretty Little Liars, 8 parts Niall Horan from One Direction, and like
okay.
nothing else goes on in my brain ever.
Well, welcome, Kaitlyn. I promise you that we will say her Twitter handle at the end of the show.
Awesome.
We'll save it. That's my hook for you, the listener. Is I told you it was great, but I won't tell you where to find it until later.
I have the least number of followers of anyone who works at this media organization.
That's going to
so-
change.
If there's one thing we'll accomplish with this podcast today, it's getting you at least one additional follower.
I already have a new one.
There you go.
It's Tobias Brightweiser.
Oh, that dude's super excited right now.
Yeah.
It's all happening
man.
for you, Tobias.
I've first bias.
Yeah. No, don't. You can't. It's so rude.
You're supposed to say super hype.
Hey, Tobias, you're great.
All right.
So let's get into it. So we actually had a big week of news. There's a reason. We had so much news. There's a reason that we need to have both Sean and then Jake on the show. But I think the biggest news in perhaps the history of our species
Definitely in the solar system.
is that we saw some Pluto this week. Sean, you and Lauren have been doing killer Pluto coverage for us this whole week. You took a trip to like watch it with NASA.
Yeah.
Tell us what happened.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. The mission control for New Horizons is the spacecraft that made it to Pluto this week, and that spacecraft was run out of Johns Hopkins Applied Physics Laboratory in Maryland. So NASA held a big event. They brought a whole bunch of NASA people there. The whole New Horizons team was there. All of the media was there.
Yeah.
From big TV outlets to newspapers to websites and everything. And so I got there on Monday, and they basically, from Sunday until yesterday, have been holding media briefings, basically giving access to all the team scientists to talk about the geology of the planet, the atmosphere, the moons, everything that is going on around Pluto, and then all sort of through the lens of us seeing this planet for the first time, basically. And the funny thing is, I think the first thing that people think about with Pluto is how it was sort of a planet and now it's not really a planet.
Yeah.
And it's all just sort of, it's like a sort of smoke and mirrors. It doesn't really matter. But everybody on the New Horizons team, when they were asked, because they were inevitably asked about it over and over and over, were just like, we call it a planet. It's a planet.
Really?
They did this whole thing where they called it the Pluto salute, where they have everybody hold up 9 fingers for the 9 planets.
That's
So you
amazing.
see a lot of the press images from this week where they're like doing that. So that all that stuff is like kind of totally ancillary. The big news was in the last couple of weeks, we've seen this thing come into view as the spacecraft got closer and closer, and that just accelerated exponentially as it got closer because we finally got our first real look of, not just pixels, but our first real look at this thing in great detail, and not just the whole disk of it. By the time we found out that the spacecraft survived, we finally got high res. I think it's 100 kilometers per pixel, or no, 4 kilometers per pixel. I don't know. High res detail of the surface. We can actually see the mountains and everything. So it's
no craters.
Yeah, and in a week we went from it being still a pretty fuzzy little dot where you could resolve some detail to something where, somebody already made like a 3D map of it.
Wow.
So, it's really pretty wild how quickly it changed over the last week.
Right. And there's a big blank spot that if you look at it just so it actually looks like Pluto the dog.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well,
or a heart. Or a heart. Yeah, they call it a heart.
I always think it's really funny. We did this a lot with Philae, the lander that landed on the comet last year, where we sort of ascribe these personalities to these spacecraft or things in space because it's just easier to relate to them when we think of them as like people almost, or we look for things in them. It's like looking at clouds in the sky and like trying to name a shape. So as soon as Pluto really started to come into view, we saw this heart shape, which is basically a giant plane that they think is maybe made of ice, maybe some snow, and it looks just like a heart. And so everybody kind of like went wild over that because it's like you see a shape you recognize and everybody goes crazy. Right. It's like, ooh, bright and shiny. And but then people started seeing other things in it because like if you turn it one way, it did kind of look like Pluto. If you turn it another way, it looks
Pluto
like
the dog. You mean?
Yeah, Pluto the dog. Yeah, sorry. And so it's really kind of funny watching everybody like hone in on these like weird things while there's like all this other stuff going on.
Mm-hmm. And we also got the moon, Charon.
Yeah. So basically pronounce it however you want. No one's really sure. It was named after the man who originally found Charon. Named it after his wife Charlene. So he says that you pronounce it like Char, as you were going to say Charlene, and then own. So Charon.
Okay.
And that like slips. But I heard
that's not cool.
It's cool for his wife.
Cool for his wife, but his wife is like, don't call me Sharon. I think it's probably like what she's thinking generally.
Yeah. Well, he couldn't just call it Charlene. I don't know. Maybe he could have.
Wait, let me ask you, what's cooler? A distant moon called Charon, or a distant moon called Charlene?
I'm actually super disappointed to hear this story because I assumed it was named after the Greek ferryman, like Karen.
No, that's what Neil deGrasse Tyson was saying. He said that to Stephen Colbert,
which is really cool because it's this guy's job to like take you into hell, and this is like one of the last things in our solar system, and so you cross into the outer world.
Charlene got a bum rap. He's like, what do I think of when I think of my wife? I think of an ancient guy who took you to hell on a boat.
Marriage, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Wow, that's terrible.
So hang on. So Pluto and I'm not going to say the word again.
Charlene. Just call it Charlene.
Well, no, so they don't,
like, as a people, we should just call it Charlene.
The moon doesn't actually orbit Pluto. They like orbit each other a little bit.
Yeah, they do. So Charon is close enough to Pluto and big enough relative to Pluto that the center of gravity between the two of them actually is slightly off of the surface of Pluto. So they orbit this space that kind of just exists in between the two of them. And they're tidally locked, so it means that one side of Charon and one side of Pluto are always
marriage, man.
Are always facing each other, and that's why they think there's that dark spot that we saw in greater detail throughout the week on top of Charlene.
Yeah,
that as we got closer to it, it looked redder and redder. And it's this really big spot. It doesn't quite look like an impact crater because there are really small impact craters on that moon. And they think because the two bodies are tidally locked and always facing the same side to each other, that spot might actually be material from Pluto that's leaking over onto the moon.
That's some like crazy sci-fi stuff.
Yeah. Well, and what's cool about it is like that's a thing that they kind of thought, and then the data that and the images that they saw this week started to back it up, or they could make theories about it, and so this like team of really incredibly smart scientists who have been doing this for decades, and many of the New Horizons team have been trying to get to Pluto for decades, all sort of working together. The core group of them are known as the Pluto Underground. And they have been, I mean, they've literally been like putting together the plans that kept getting denied or failed since like the late 80s, early 90s. And it's the same, like kind of 6 or 7 people.
The Pluto Underground.
Yeah, right? It's like the greatest.
Are they also a house
the greatest
band?
grunge record ever, yeah. And so all these people are still like learning about this in front of you, which was the coolest thing about being there this week. But what made that even better was the whole drama of Tuesday was flyby day, and what was basically happening was the spacecraft finally got there.
Yeah.
It was going too fast to put it into orbit around Pluto. It doesn't have enough fuel to like slow it down and kick it into orbit around Pluto. So you're just going to do a flyby past it, keep going, and do as much science as you can while you're flying by it.
I mean, it's like less than an hour, right?
Yeah, it was gone pretty quick. It was going.
Where is it now?
So now it's, a couple, probably at least 1 million, probably more miles past Pluto.
But and just out there.
It's headed deeper into the Kuiper Belt, which is Pluto's at sort of the front edge of the Kuiper Belt, which is this thing in like near the sort of outer solar system, kind of in the middle of it, where there's just all these objects, all the stuff that's left over from our planets forming millions and millions and millions of years ago are these like smaller moons and stuff that are just like hanging out there in the darkness.
Yeah.
And so New Horizons is like heading out there, and if they're spending the next 16 months getting the rest of the data off the spacecraft and looking at all the images and stuff.
So the spacecraft is getting farther and farther away, but still sending data?
Right.
So does that rate slow down?
I think so, but it's already pretty slow.
Right. It's like really slow.
It's like a really crazy...
Everyone keeps saying slower than a 56K modem.
Yeah, and that's just like what people think to relate it to. And they're like, we wish. Like, it's so great. But yeah, it basically, once that 16-month period is up and we have all the data off the spacecraft about Pluto and its moons, the New Horizons team is kind of done unless they can get a mission extension, which requires more funding, a whole bunch of stuff. But they want to take it to... There are a lot of other objects in that Kuiper Belt that we do know about that are not as big as Pluto, but maybe as big as some of its moons. Well, they're cool, and they got cooler this week because we found out that when you look at the surface of Pluto in that high-res image, you see all these crazy 11,000-foot tall mountains, and that shouldn't be happening.
Yeah, and you should see like way more craters.
Yeah. So there's two things. We should see way more craters, and we shouldn't see as many surface features, and that's because the Earth has all this tectonic movement because it's got this really hot radiated core in the middle, and that creates all these forces that move stuff around. And if you don't have that, then the only other way we thought that could happen on a surface is if you were near like a giant body. So some of the moons in the solar system, like Europa around Jupiter, has surface features because it has this giant body next to it with gravity that's like a lot of gravity that's like pulling on it all the time as it orbits. Jupiter or Pluto doesn't have any of that, so they didn't think that it was going to have like really fascinating surface features. So now they got to figure out why it has all that stuff, and then it also has a young surface because there's no impact craters. So they got to figure out why that's the case too, and they think that's also part tied together with why there's so many surface features because it's Pluto's more dynamic than we think, and so because of that. That means the Kuiper Belt objects might actually be way more interesting than we thought. If this could happen at Pluto, this could happen at some of these even smaller places not too far past.
Yeah, the quotes I've been seeing are all like, throw out everything that we know. Like, start it all over.
Which is kind of how these things are always treated.
And then I will say, there's also a bunch of Neil deGrasse Tyson just being salty.
Which
is really weird.
Why is he so salty?
Did you see his interview with Colbert where he was just like, screw Pluto. It's like, I'm wearing this tie.
Yeah.
My tie has 8 planets on it.
Well, the best thing about that was
it's like, just how... Like, Neil deGrasse Tyson is like like, everyone loves him.
Yeah.
B, he's obviously a killer scientist, right? Director of the Hayden Planetarium.
Sure.
C is like the world's biggest cheerleader for science and innovation, exploration. And it's like, except for Pluto.
Yeah.
Except that he just, motherfucker, hates Pluto.
He even said in that video that he'd rather demote all the rocky planets in the solar system to dwarf planet status than call Pluto a planet.
Wow.
But it's all semantics. It like quite literally doesn't matter at all. And Alan's,
well, except for his tie. There's tie makers the world over who are putting 8 planets on a tie.
Yeah. Well, for those guys, sorry, tie makers.
They're all wrong. All right, we got to do it. All right, ready, Kaitlyn? This is your first
I'm ready.
moment.
I'm ready.
You've seen the show before.
Yes.
You're aware of Sam's general affect.
Sure.
I mean, Kaitlyn literally sits across from Sam every day, all day.
I also watch all of his periscopes. Last night I watched him eat pizza for like 10 minutes.
Actually, do you know my best Sam Periscope story? I don't know if you guys saw this fly by on Twitter. There's a developer at Vox named Eden. Eden's great. She lives in Canada. And last night she was Periscoping her mom. She's going to kill me for telling the story. But she was Periscoping her mom. Her mom was like, her mom was cooking. She's making she's like making muffins or something.
Banana bread.
No, it wasn't banana bread. It was something. But it doesn't matter. Her mom was cooking, and her mom admitted on the Periscope, like, I've been drinking. And then
Step one.
Someone else at Vox Media, this dude Mark, was like, you should introduce your mom to Sam. And Eden was like, on the Periscope, was like, Mom, one of my friends thinks you should meet my other friend Sam.
Oh, right.
And then Eden's mom was like, who's Sam? I don't need any more little pimps in my life. And then like Eden's Twitter like exploded. She's like, my mom just called Sam a little pimp, and I don't know. It was just like a perfect little internet moment. Like all of these worlds collided. Anyway, so Kaitlyn.
Yeah.
Hype check Pluto.
Hype check Pluto. Okay, we're using the pitchfork scale of hype, I've decided.
Okay.
Oh God, this is gonna be rough.
Everyone has their own hype scale. I get it.
Yeah. So Pluto's going to get an 8.7.
Whoa, that's good for
Best
Pitchfork.
new track. Yeah.
Best new track.
Yeah. Best new not a planet that we have seen close up.
Yeah.
I like it.
I can live with that. You say Pitchfork, I was just expecting like 2.3.
Oh no.
Like it's good, but it's not
I will
as
say this,
good as everything.
Verge readers often get mad at us about our 10.0 scale.
Yeah.
Pitchfork, their writers, when they pitch album reviews to Pitchfork, before it's written or approved or accepted or published or paid for, they pitch the score.
Wow.
This is true. So so you think we're crazy, at least we like use the thing. Pitchfork reviewers show up and they're like, we got this new record. It's a 6.5. I want to write 1,000 words about it. And the editor's like, yeah, that sounds good.
I mean,
or they argue about
it's efficient.
It's something. I have a lot of feelings about Pitchfork. All right, Sean, is there anything else we need to talk about with Pluto? Tell me what the scene was like at the place. You were there. You were real.
The coolest thing about it was the drama. I mean, all that other stuff was great, but like no one really knew. So like it was going to do that flyby, and the delay between the spacecraft, because it's so far out, it's 3 billion miles away. So the delay, even light speed, it takes 4.5 hours to get a signal there and 4.5 to get back. So the flyby was supposed to happen that morning, right around 8 o'clock in the morning. And they had a big countdown and everybody celebrated because you're just kind of like, hey, that thing that's out there should have just passed the point it was supposed to pass at this time. And then everybody spent the rest of the day kind of like thinking in the back of their head, we don't know until basically 9 o'clock tonight whether or not it made it. Mm-hmm. And they programmed the spacecraft to go past Pluto, basically shut down its communications because the way the antenna was on the like other side from the instrument, so it couldn't talk to the Earth and study Pluto at the same time. So it was programmed to like do as much science as it could, get past Pluto, do some more science, and then turn back to the Earth and say like, hey, I'm good.
Yeah.
And like, we got it. And that was like a 13-hour wait because of the delay and because of the amount of time it was passing Pluto. So it was like, it was really, really, it was really exciting because everybody was just so happy from the morning, and all the scientists were really happy to talk to everybody about the image because they got to make all these new theories about like what might be on Pluto and all this stuff. But like as the day went by, it started to get a little bit more tense and a little bit more tense and a little bit more tense. And you've got guests from the public, you know, like parents and kids, you've got media, you've got staffers at Johns Hopkins who have never seen an event like this happen on their campus before, and it's like sort of like pushing the limits of their center where they held everything, and it's just getting more and more tense. And then when everybody got seated in that auditorium for the final sort of like event where we were waiting to watch, you know, on the screen, the mission operations room, which was like just sort of on the other side of campus, and waiting for them to get the signal, that was when everybody was kind of like, and like, and it got really tense. And even you could see like the missions operations team that were around were like starting to think about it more. And you're watching this like live feed of the missions operation room, and they hear that it gets locked with a spacecraft, which is good. It meant it was alive. But then you got to wait for them to call out. It's like the reverse of a rocket launch where they call out like, is this system ready? Go, you know, like et cetera, et cetera. They're basically like calling out all the instruments. Do we get all of the data from this? Do we get all the data from that? And They're going through each one, and as each one is announced that like, yeah, we got it, everybody in the audience is like, yeah. And then they're like immediately quieting down because they want to hear if the next one is. And they go through this thing, so it took like 2 minutes to really know for sure, even though most of the scientists had like no doubt in their mind that this thing was still alive. Basically, the only thing that really could have killed it, other than like the thing just dying coincidentally at the same time, was if it was making a close enough pass, it could have hit some debris. Like there's a lot of dust around Pluto, so something could have taken.
That's
it
what
out.
Happens in the Michael Bay movie.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and it was like a 1 in 10,000 chance, but like it could have happened. And at one point during the day, someone the lead of the mission was actually like, yeah, it's like a 1 or a 2 in 10,000 chance, and I was like, did the chance just go up? Like, did we just get closer to a disaster? So that whole like. It was really fun and exciting to like watch these really smart people learn all this stuff, but like through that lens of everybody just like kind of worrying with a smile on their face was just like really, really crazy to see. And knowing that this is really the last thing like this that we have in any of our generations. Like,
and Neil, that's what I'm saying. Like Neil deGrasse, like, get it together. Have a little joy.
Maybe kick a little bit of that, TV coin towards NASA.
I think it's a planet.
I mean, basically, even if you look in like the media coverage, everybody's just kind of like, I'm not going to go through like the sort of word acrobatics that I need to do to like call it something else. Like it's just the planet's surface. And I think everybody's just totally fine with it because like most people look at it and are like, yeah, I'd want to see a rover on that thing.
Really?
Like I mean, it just looks so awesome. Like why wouldn't we want to explore that thing anymore?
It's got a heart on it. Yeah. All right, Sean, thank you so much. I'm going to read an ad. We're going to switch out to Jake. And we're gonna jump into some. We're gonna go from Pluto to Comic-Con, another location in outer space. All right, let's do it. Let me introduce you to our sponsor, Xero. That's Xero. Xero is beautiful accounting software built to help small businesses be more productive and successful. Xero is easy to use. You can send invoices, online quotes to help your customers, pay your employees, manage your cash flow, expenses, and even your inventory with Xero. Xero's in the cloud, so you can access and manage all of your business accounting on the go. Xero does what desktop software does and more. Plus, you can use it anywhere at any time from a mobile device. For example, if you're working and traveling, you can send invoices easily on the go, and clients can pay online instantly. So sign up for a free 30-day trial at xero.com/podcasts. That's xero.com/podcast. Xero, Xero, is beautiful accounting software built to help small businesses be more productive and successful. Sign up once again for a free 30-day trial today, Jake Kastrenakes, at xero.com/podcast.
I'm excited.
We're out of the money zone.
Explain to me how this is your first Vergecast. How did that?
Yeah, Jake, how long have you worked here? It's been a long time.
I
Look,
feel
can we tell you?
terrible.
I feel no. Here's the thing, and it's all going to come together. Because Jake was just at Comic-Con, but before we talk about Jake at Comic-Con, tell your origin story.
Well, I mean, 3 years ago, you hired me as an
superhero.
Yes, he is.
And I mean, it was literally
3 years ago. Jake was an intern.
It was like the quickest meeting ever, and you were just kind of sitting there, and you're like, okay.
The Verge hiring process.
And it was very rigorous. Around 6 months later, I started doing news writing, and I have not stopped.
Yeah, nonstop ever since.
Yeah, I think there were a few days off here and there.
But now you're doing more culture stuff. We're sending you places.
Yeah,
going on
no, it's been fun. Yes, this ended up being my first Comic-Con.
Yeah, if you here's the thing: if you read The Verge, you have undoubtedly read Jake's work because he's produced most of The Verge himself for like the past 3 years. So anyway, so you're at Comic-Con.
Yeah, I mean,
tell me in broad strokes about Comic-Con.
It is literally the most insane thing. You can't walk. There is just so many people there and so many things going on. And I mean, name something nerdy, it is there.
Right.
So basically, I think there are about 3 different things going on. There's the show floor, which I think is where like 99% of people spend 99% of their time. And that is just... it's essentially a huge store, but it's a huge store filled with all of the coolest, nerdiest, geekiest stuff you can think of. And that's everything from like crazy expensive toys to like the Ant-Man suit, which is maybe just on display, to VR experiences that you can pick up to try out. And there's also all these independent artists and comics and just tons of stuff that you would never find anywhere else unless you were like really intensely browsing the internet for this stuff. So I saw a lot of really awesome art that I would not have otherwise seen. The other big thing going on is the panels.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, what you hear the most about.
Which is, it's totally different because the other huge trade show we go to is CES.
Yep.
Where all we cover is the show floor.
Yep.
And we never talk about the panels.
Yeah.
And at Comic-Con, it's like the show floor is there. Everyone's doing stuff on the show floor. We barely report on it.
Yeah.
And the whole world cares about what happens at these panels.
Well, the panels are where all the star power is. I mean, like unnecessarily so.
Really?
Like there was a trailer, or there was a panel for the new X-Men, and they brought out all of its stars, and like they didn't even have time to speak. There was just like way too many people on the stage. It was ridiculous. Each of them, like eventually the moderator was like, okay, you answer a question quickly, you go quickly, you go quickly. And it was just like, this is really not, but you know, the crowd eats it up just because they're standing in a room with
So actually,
but the
let's do
crowd
this.
eats it up because they have like Stockholm syndrome, and they're like they've been conditioned by the experience to love whatever is put in front of them, no matter what.
Yeah, they're quite likely delirious at that point.
Wait. So let's before we get into the emotion of Comic-Con, really quickly go through the big news from the show.
The big news from the show. So the two huge things, there was Star Wars, and you know, they had a behind the scenes video, and they surprised everyone, and they took like about 6,500 people to a surprise concert. That was just like around the corner. They like had people in stormtrooper outfits like lead them out there.
Hype check Star Wars. She's not even paying attention.
I've never seen Star Wars. Sorry.
This is true.
Bye.
I found this out this
What are
morning.
we doing? Would you see it?
How have you never seen Star Wars?
Okay.
Is this religious for you?
Is it religious?
Yeah, like you're never gonna see it. Like my wife refused to read Harry Potter for years and years and years and years. This is true.
I guess it's like I got through that pivotal age where you're supposed to be like getting excited about stuff, and now it's too late, and I feel like I've missed out. And if I did it, I'm just a follower.
I definitely feel 1,000 years old now. Like, there's nothing left for me except death. That's how you made me. Like, I got through that. I got through the age where I could feel emotions that were joy.
And she's right though. I don't think you will like it as much if you don't have that relationship with it from childhood.
Interesting. But that means that there's going to be generations, at least 2 generations of children who hate Star Wars. Because the Star Wars that came out when they were kids were the garbage Star Wars.
Or they just love Jar Jar and we don't realize it yet.
Who are those people, and how do we send them to another country?
Generation.
I mean, I've got like a 5-year-old nephew who definitely loves Star Wars, and like he
but
cut his teeth on those newer movies. Like
the newer movies are they're not even exciting. Like they're about like congressional politics.
Yeah.
Like at their core. Like what's the second one?
The second one's the best one.
Padme battles you.
Revenge of the Sith. No,
That's the third
one.
The second one is tremendously boring.
Yeah, but it's got the most Obi-Wan.
You don't even remember the name.
God damn it.
All right, keep going. What else happened? So Star Wars. But this is like a big reboot for Star Wars, right?
Yeah, I mean, obviously everyone is. I think one of the big things that they pushed is they know the crowd. They know they want this throwback to old Star Wars, and they're like, look, it's practical effects and crazy outfits. It's everything that you've always loved. They brought out Harrison Ford, who, had been in a plane crash recently. The whole gang was there. Everyone was excited. Of course, they're going to be excited, but, that's the narrative. This is going to be more like the original trilogy than the new trilogy. I think I believe them for now.
Yeah. I mean, but they didn't show anything new, right? It was just like
not really. They had a behind the scenes reel that was like mostly what was in the first trailer.
Right. Yeah. But then they took everybody. It's because from my perspective, everyone's like Star Wars blew away Comic-Con.
Yeah.
But they didn't actually.
So they blew it away because, most of these things, at the end of the day, they're showing you a trailer.
Yeah.
And that's okay. But I can watch a trailer in New York.
Yeah.
But then they were like, hey, you and only you who took the time to sit in line and come out to this room and stay in this room for like 10 hours or something are going to get to go to this crazy special performance. We're going to play music that you love that, sends you back to your childhood. We're going to give you this like free toy lightsaber. And then they like shot off fireworks and stuff. It's just like making everyone's emotions like go wild. And that's why it won, because it made people think it's okay to love Star Wars again.
Okay, so that's Star Wars. What else happened? There's just so much. I want to go.
Yeah,
we're going to circle back.
So DC went out. Batman versus Superman.
Yeah.
New trailer. Batman is mad as Kaitlyn.
Yeah.
So
Super
hopefully.
mad.
Yeah.
Hype check Batman versus Superman.
Okay. 10 because
What?
Whoa.
Ben Affleck is. I have this thing where I feel like I'm secretly the mother of many white male actors who are like struggling. So like that's like Ben Affleck and Jake Gyllenhaal and Matt Damon, and I'm like just really invested in their
you
success.
feel is like you feel maternal?
Yeah.
You feel
like,
maternal for Ben Affleck.
like sometimes I'm disappointed in him, but I always love him, and I believe in his potential.
God,
So
that's amazing.
I don't know.
Why is he so mad?
Isn't he wildly
know.
successful most of the time?
I mean, everybody's so mean to him. Like, I don't know.
All right, but only because you feel maternal for Ben Affleck is Batman v Superman at 10.
Well, also, I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of over this Marvel thing where it's like we're leaning into the goofiness of comics. I'm like, yeah, but you're making very bad movies.
Yeah.
So, I mean, maybe DC is like my chance to get into comic book movies without them being bad.
I don't know if Batman versus Superman is where that starts for you. And I definitely don't know if Suicide Squad is where that starts for you.
Yeah, but Margot Robbie's going to get famous, so this is exciting.
She looked amazing in the trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah. She looks, also crazy.
Yes, which is
both
perfect,
things.
though.
I have to say one of the best moments that we've had in like a Verge Slack in a long time is when Emily noticed that in the Suicide Squad trailer, one of the characters says, "So we're like a Suicide Squad."
Oh, yeah.
And she's like, maybe in every movie they should find a way to work in the title of the movie.
Well, they do that on Game of Thrones. Like half the time they'll be like the in the first season mostly the actors would like say the name of the episode just so everyone would be like, "What?"
No, but that's like,
Don't you love it though when you hear the title of the show or the movie, or you're reading a book and you're like, there it is, I found it, the title.
Only when they look directly at the
you're
camera
listening to a song and you're like,
and say,
yeah,
Yeah,
the title
exactly.
this song
with
is
a
called
wink.
Celebration.
Vergecast.
I don't know. I went to Celebration. Fine. All right. Wait. So Batman v Superman. What else?
Yeah,
Suicide Squad.
Superman.
How are they going to do? Those movies are coming out like back to back.
Yeah,
right?
I think they're coming out like 6 months apart because they want to make some money. They got to catch up to Marvel. Marvel's like 10 movies ahead of them.
Yeah.
And if they could put out like 6 movies next year, they'd probably do it.
All right, talk
Wait,
to
so
me
I
about
checked Suicide Squad.
Ben
Affleck is also in Suicide Squad. I just want to point out, by your own reasoning, the numbers should be very similar.
Okay, this is hard. It's hard because I don't want to see another 5 billion people be the Joker for Halloween. Like, it's not something that needs to happen.
Particularly
so.
that Joker.
Yeah, especially.
Juggalo Joker.
Yeah. I'm gonna give it a 6 because also Will Smith.
Yeah.
But you don't feel
Wait,
maternal
what?
towards Will Smith.
No.
For the audio listener, I want to try to describe the face that was made. Imagine an angry frown. like a frown that indicates sadness but also anger.
What was that con man movie he was just in?
Focus with Margot Robbie.
Oh, that
Yeah.
movie is awful.
Yeah.
It
It's
could have been great.
Terrible.
It could have been great. Like the trailer for that movie was like a very entertaining trailer. You're like, I would like to just be in the world that this trailer describes. And then the movie itself was like, so you made a shitbox Ocean's 11, right? That's what you did here? Okay. That's cool.
Okay, talk to me about Deadpool.
Deadpool. So that was, the audience flips out about everything because, there's just so much energy going on.
Yeah.
But Deadpool, perhaps more than anything, I thought there was like legitimate flipping out about.
Are people like tearing their hair out? It was like a Beatles concert?
So they aired the trailer, and included in the trailer is that, there was the leaked Deadpool footage.
Yeah.
So that's in the movie, and they put that part in the trailer just as
course.
a nod. 'Cause
Right.
they know that that's why it got made. So the trailer ends, and then everybody gives it a standing ovation and starts demanding. They start shouting like one more time. And obviously they play the trailer again. Like that's how excited
Right.
people were for
Yeah.
Deadpool. I didn't see that for anything else. And I think it mostly deserved it. It seemed pretty darn funny.
Yeah. I mean, it's like Ryan Reynolds. Do you feel maternal towards Ryan Reynolds? I've checked Ryan Reynolds.
No. 2. Bad. Bye.
Yeah.
No.
Well, Deadpool is done.
I saw him.
Cancel it.
He hosted Saturday Night Live when I was 15, and I drove to New York to see him, and it was the greatest disappointment of my life, despite the fact that Lady Gaga, Madonna, and Scarlett Johansson were all there. But Ryan Reynolds was so bad, I couldn't get over it.
They were
You
on
were
that
15.
episode.
You went to New York to watch SNL,
Yeah.
and he ruined it for you.
He was so bad.
What-
You
wait.
should go find his monologue. It like occurs in like a fake rainstorm. So bad.
Wait, I guess the real question is, are there things that Ryan Reynolds has not ruined?
That one movie, definitely maybe.
Drive.
With Elizabeth Banks
thing.
and Isla Fisher. It's pretty good.
Sure.
That's
What's the
it.
movie where he's a waiter?
Oh,
Wait, it's called Waiting.
yeah.
LOL.
That's the name of the movie. And he says in the middle of it, bizarrely in this restaurant, he says, so we're like some kind of suicide squad. And then there's dead silence. The movie continues. It's very strange. Well, you know what I've noticed about this show so far is that you are the emotional opposite of Sam Sheffer. If I was like, hype check Deadpool, Sam would be like, I love it. That's so great. I love jokes are the best. And you're like, it will be bad. So that's interesting. I think there's a reason you two work so well together.
Yeah.
No, Caitlin's like, nope.
Well, when he introduced me on this show, he was like, we have the same haircut. We're the same person.
Yes,
and now I'm
that's
like
true.
aggressively trying to deny that. So,
Do you just like squeeze your eyes and try and grow your hair faster? Like,
yeah.
Oh my God. All right. So what else happened? Should we loop back through and talk about Batman and Superman? I feel like we owe DC some like conversation.
Okay. So DC.
Yeah.
It's dark. It's so dark.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing.
just-
Marvel is they're bright, they're fun, they're approachable. DC's like, we have to be different. Maybe we should do it dark.
Yeah.
And we were discussing this at Comic-Con, and Brian Bishop, I think the thing he said that surprised him most about Batman versus Superman is that it had a plot explaining why Batman was mad at Superman.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of says everything about where DC is at right now.
What do you mean?
I mean, they're just kind of their entire universe is going to explode out of Batman's versus Superman, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Marvel, they made a couple good movies first. They had Iron Man. I don't remember their other movies, but they slowly built up their other movies, and then they made
Captain America.
Yeah, right. Captain America. People love those, and then they made the Avengers, and people love the Avengers because they're like, oh my god, I love all these other things. DC is like, we're really far behind. Let's just throw everyone into this thing, right? I mean, how many different? They have Aquaman. I don't know who wants to see Aquaman. They have Wonder
Check
Woman.
Aquaman.
I don't know who that is.
Yep.
There you go.
Well, no, Cabin in the Woods is the best Aquaman movie.
He's Khal Drogo as
Technically.
Aquaman.
Oh shit! I did know that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. There you
Yeah, everyone's
Poor Jason
third
Momoa.
favorite rapist on Game of Thrones is now Aquaman.
So throw us a number on that one. By the way, the actor isn't. It's not
No,
actually
that's
Khal Drogo.
Yeah, should I put that on the record so we don't get sued?
No,
Like,
they're going to sue
not-
us. Like Reddit commenters are going to sue us. Like they're fine. Wait, number. What's your pitchfork for Aquaman?
I can't assign it a number because I didn't remember he was a person. So
Here's the problem with DC's
By the
tone.
way, you know what you don't know is that is actually part of Pitchfork's ranking system. No number
They
may
just
be
don't
assigned
acknowledge
if you're not a person. You may, anyway.
Here's the problem with Batman vs Superman.
Oh God.
Tell it
It
to
might
us.
be fine on its own. Even if it's good, best case scenario is still bad because DC's cinematic universe will be based in like being the cool dark guy. And like, I'm telling you, like dating Judd Nelson 2 weeks after the end of Breakfast Club, it's like, oh wait, it turns out that like you've got reason to be conflicted, but also you're just kind of boring. Like once you get the cool guy, like the cool guy doesn't last. It either like turns into like you get bored of it and you go away, or it turns into Fonzie.
Wait.
What?
I'm just rewinding to the dating Judd Nelson 2 weeks after the
Yeah,
breakfast.
that's what I'm saying. Like in the Breakfast Club, it's like amazing, but then 2 weeks later, you're like, well, this is not fun anymore.
2 weeks, 2 weeks later, Molly Ringwald's like, dude, like just stop burning your hand with cigarettes.
Right, exactly.
Like just you can stop it now. I get
Right.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Right.
that's the DC universe. It's my prediction for it.
I don't know if that is accurate. Bizarrely, I feel very high about Batman v Superman.
Why is that?
You're on
Because
Batman.
I want to see Batman punch Superman in the face
Yeah, that's reasonable.
for being dumb. Like
It won't-
that's
yeah,
why
I don't
Batman
think that
should be
can
mad at
hurt
Superman,
Superman,
right?
though.
Like, yes, you're dumb. Like you're dumb.
Right.
Please leave our planet. Like take everything about you and like leave the planet and just go.
But he can be angsty at Superman all he wants. Superman is like an invulnerable alien.
Yeah, so just please
and
go.
incredibly handsome.
Like, no conflict will ever find you. Every story involving you will be boring in some way. That's what Batman should say to Superman.
In depression, he leaves.
There's
I have
nothing
no
here.
character arc.
Can you fly when your head is hung down in shame? Is that like
Like, oh my God, everything about you is always the same. Like, you lose your powers because you definitely have to lose your powers in order for there to be conflict in the story. Oh my God, I'm so surprised. Like, that is true. That's how Batman cuts Superman with a knife. No.
with a bat knife?
Also, the trailer is very confusing because at one point Batman is like running through the desert in like a bat
Oh my
jacket.
God! It looks like I
he's
feel
got
like there's like a
goggles over
Lawrence
his
of
bat
Arabia
eyes.
scene in there or
Yes.
something.
And then there's like Superman army guys.
I hope that this is actually like a 5-hour epic, and they
Yes,
just
yeah. But how do they get all these?
Like,
It's like
I
well,
know.
think about just the
Randomly
locations they have to
appears, like,
go.
why
if
is
this
she
is
there?
totally sprawling, I'll be into it.
No,
Yeah.
right. It's like they have to be in Metropolis so that they can.
Which, by the way, is the Oakland to, or no, I'm sorry, Gotham is the Oakland to Metropolis. They're like next to each other. Turns
oh,
out.
really?
Yeah.
That's weird. Why does Bruce Wayne live in Oakland? That makes no sense. All right, whatever. So it starts at the end of Superman.
Yeah.
So like already bad, but like whatever. But it starts at the end there, and then it has to go to Gotham, presumably.
Yeah.
To Wayne Manor.
Yeah.
To a battle in the desert.
Yeah.
Under the sea, where Aquaman lives.
That's right.
Some
Wonder Woman shows up.
What? Like, it has to be 5 hours long just to get literally under the sea. Like, it has to. How can you establish Aquaman?
No,
Like,
I have nothing else to say. I mean, it sounds like beautiful how absurd this is. I mean, I hope they go all out and just are like, well, we have to do all of this. Let's just throw everything in there. Hope
it's
for the
really
best.
hard for me to say the words under the sea without doing the accent. Yep, that's where my. Anyway, and then Suicide Squad looks like a totally different disaster.
This looks totally different. Yeah, it's dark. Yeah, I will say for both of them, I feel like they're very comic booky in their action and like their events.
Yeah.
In a way that Marvel isn't. I mean, Marvel is, comic booky in the way that it's kind of goofy and lighthearted, but DC's definitely still taking to those kind of comic book roots, I think.
It's also comic booky in that the majority of it is like basically in black and white. The color
Yeah,
palette is
yeah.
just
I mean,
a non-existent.
which is like not a thing that we really need to see again.
Yeah.
But
I'm into it.
Zack Snyder.
Because it's true. Because the Chris Nolan Batman movies are over. Those are the
Yeah.
only like gritty ones, and the last one ended with like an absurd comic book thing that happened.
Yeah.
The Marvel movies we're done. Like Iron Man was the closest Marvel came to grittiness. The first Iron Man, that was the closest they came to grittiness, and they've left that behind.
I don't know. There's a lot of dust in that first Thor movie because it was out in New Mexico.
It's Thor. Like, who is the least gritty comic book person? It's Thor
Yeah, okay.
and Superman.
God, you just hate Superman so much.
I really, really dislike.
Hype check Superman.
Never seen a Superman movie either, so I'm useless as a hype desk person.
But you know
It's
of
so
the
Superman.
idea of
dark.
I mean,
Over
he
there.
does. He does seem really lame, and also like Batman is like a self-made man. That's like the story of
No,
America.
his parents were rich.
I mean,
He literally
no.
inherited a manor.
Okay, he's a self-made superhero though.
Okay.
Like he made himself into a superhero. That's America. It's capitalism. It's father issues. It's everything. We
Yeah.
don't need Superman.
Batman is more America than Superman. I
Yeah.
will say that.
Superman grew up on like a farm and stuff, aside from Krypton, didn't he?
All right, we gotta. I'm gonna read
that's
this.
something.
We're done.
It's like a journalist. We should like a kinship.
True. I do. As a journalist, I feel a kinship to Superman. I also grew up on a farm, and no conflict
This
can
is
find
why
me unless I
you
lose
don't
my
care about
powers.
Superman. You've already
you
known
know,
that
he's lived his
story.
life.
Yeah.
It's true. I am constantly flying through the air like Jesus. It's Jesus who flies. That's like the super
No.
like, the core in the trailer. They're like, you're their only hope, and he's like
It's
flying in
very
the air.
Jesus-y.
Okay.
It's like
Yeah.
it is very Christ-like, which is great if you're into that sort of thing.
I mean, Jesus
I
was an
mean,
alien
what
too,
other
so-
symbolism can you use?
All right.
Like
None.
that's it.
All right, we're going to read an ad and then we're going to talk about the iPod, which I think is a great transition from
Yeah.
Jesus.
Let's do it.
I don't know that there, and if longtime listeners of the show know that it is not often that one topic leads seamlessly into another. But I don't know that three things have ever not gone together like Superman, the iPod, and what I'm about to read.
Do you need me to read that?
No. I got it. All right. Do you need a new mattress? But I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna take a
John,
sip
I'm
of this
so
beer.
sorry.
No, this is great. This is what they want. They want engagement. Go to lisa.com right now. I promise. Dieter's crying. All right. Do you need a new mattress but hate mattress shopping? Then you need to know about this new online mattress company, Leesa. That's Leesa. Leesa is like the Tom's shoes for mattresses. The insanely cool Leesa mattress is sold exclusively online, ships compressed to your door for free, and has 3 unique foam layers for cooling, supportive sleep. Leesa gives you the 100 nights... Sorry, maybe that again. Leesa gives you 100 nights to try a mattress risk-free. And for every 10 mattresses they sell, they donate one to a shelter. How great is that? So go ahead and grab your smartphone or your laptop or even your tablet. Cool tablet burn, Lisa.com. And go to Lisa.com/Vergecast to get 75% off, $75 off your purchase. That's Leesa.com/Vergecast to get $75 off your purchase. That's $75 off your mattress at Leesa.com/Vergecast. That was not my best.
Beautiful read.
That's good.
But I didn't completely crack.
Yeah.
And I would like to get some credit for that.
You get plenty of credit.
All right, let's talk about Apple. Apple did a bunch of stuff this week.
Yeah. So they started by
But
last week.
Windows is like happening too. There's tech news in this world.
Yeah. There's a ton of tech news in this
Yeah.
world. So I mean, Windows is happening, but it's like it's coming. But like they like the final version seems to be out for insiders.
Yeah.
They have a clever version number for it that has like an inside computer joke.
I feel like everyone is
it's
really
coming.
pumped about Windows 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super
There's
In a way
been a
that
lot
people
of
have not been
excitement.
pumped about Windows in a while.
I think it might be good.
I think it's good.
Yeah. I
That'd be
mean,
awesome.
you've been using the previews and stuff.
Yeah, it's like
What do you like
it's
about
buggy,
it?
but it's what I like about it is this is going to sound crazy, Cortana, because like it is a better just like hit a button, type some stuff, and search the stuff you want to search and get to the stuff that you want than anything else. And I'm also like they got rid of they kept the good ideas from Windows 8 and 8.1, and they got rid of all the bad ones or most of the bad ones, and that's exciting.
Yeah, it's coming. All right, but we just got like one step closer.
Yeah.
Wait, Kaitlyn. Top check Windows 10. This is dangerous territory.
Oh no. I can't. It's too controversial. I'm gonna.
That's your job.
Yeah.
That's where you are.
Whoa! Wow.
That's where you. That's or the title. Her swagasty is not just handed upon you because you shy from controversy.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm gonna give it a solid 5.6.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why's that?
I don't know. I was handed this MacBook by theverge.com, which I now
to
use
throw that right back.
exclusively.
Were you using Windows before?
So, no.
So
I used Windows for my first 3 years of college.
okay.
So
There
it
you
was
go.
fine.
Maybe
fine.
Windows
It worked.
10 will bring you back.
Served its purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's how people feel about Windows. Right? It's
Yeah.
like it's a thing. It's water. It's around you.
Yeah.
It's not like I don't know. It's a delicious.
It's not like a great choice that you make. It's just
A thing that's
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, but Windows 10 is like the chance.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we're like a little bit tick closer, and
Yeah.
like Cortana's good. I will say I've never seen Verge staffers excited about Windows the way they are excited about Windows 10.
Yeah.
Which I think is fascinating.
Yeah.
And
I mean, it was impossible to be excited about Windows 7 because it was like,
right.
you know, rolling back Vista, so whatever. And Windows 8 was like really intriguing, and then you started using it, and it was like really confusing, and then like, what? But 8.1 will fix it, and it's like, no,
Yeah.
it's not confusing to me anymore, but it's just kind of dumb.
It was like Microsoft went off and made like a little artsy film for a couple of years.
right.
And
About
totally
failure.
alienated
It was their
its
Joaquin
audience.
Phoenix "I'm Still Here"
Yes.
phase, right? Okay, so Apple they put out betas for iOS 9 that are available to the public, so you can go play with it. I don't know what to say, but we already talked about it. They've talked about it. It's there. Don't install it on your main phone or main iPad because it's still buggy.
I installed it on my iPad Mini. It's the original iPad Mini,
Yeah.
and there's literally no difference except everything is slower, which I probably should have seen coming. That's my own fault. For instance, don't install it on anything very old.
Like with Cortana, I am
Lauren
most
Good
excited
wrote
about the new search thing.
It feels like you shouldn't. Wait, we're talking about Windows. We're talking about.
I'm talking about on iOS the new search screen that's now on the left.
Okay.
I want that to be my primary interface to iOS.
Oh, interesting.
Oh,
I haven't really played with that much yet because I've heard you say like old things suck with it, and then Lauren Good wrote a thing for Recode that was like, don't install it on anything that you depend on.
Yeah.
So now I'm out of things. Like there are no things for me to put iOS 9 on. Wait, we should talk about the iPod.
You could put it on the new iPod. You could buy a new iPod and put it on that. The Apple up and announced new iPod Touches, and they basically put a good camera, 8 megapixel camera, and the iPhone 6's processor.
No, I think
it's
an A. The 6,
Yeah. So it might not have all the craziness, but it's got a motion thing. It's got the A8.
Is the screen better? Because I feel like the old screen was like weird and yellowish.
I've only we went out and bought one today, and Sean O'Kane did a hands-on, which is up on theverge.com.
Yeah.
But I haven't had more than like 45 seconds to be like, oh, this is a pretty gold color.
Yeah, the screen is usually it's cheap. Like it's not like expensive.
I took away the loop lanyard thing, which was dumb in the first place. Sorry.
No, but it was like playful.
I like lanyards, but yeah, you're right. It was playful. But whatever.
You know what really gets me, and I know why, but the new Nano, and the new Shuffle are not compatible with Apple Music, which is insanity.
Yep.
I mean, it's also weird that they're still selling the iPod Nano and Shuffle.
The Shuffle I understand.
Yeah, the Shuffle, that makes sense.
It's like look at this,
so
look at this
cheap.
thing. Yeah, hey.
But the Nano has always been super weird. At least maybe not always, but the most recent version of the Nano is super strange. It has this interface totally unlike anything else that Apple does.
circles.
Well, it looks, it's like iOS-esque.
Right, do you see that thing?
It's iOS-esque.
That's
You're
it.
welcome.
That's my new theme.
You're welcome.
That's my
iOS.
new Windows theme.
Yeah.
No, did you see that thing in Daring Fireball? These like Gruber was like, why didn't they update this to make it look like iOS 8? And the answer is because literally no one works on the iPod team. There's no one left to do it, and that is the most un-Apple, cynical, garbage move of all time.
But what's it going to do with the iPods?
Like Apple's whole thing is like we're going to cannibalize ourselves. We're going to sell the best products. Tim Cook is going to whisper in his sweet, dulcet Southern tones about, we just want to make the world's best products.
Yeah, you can't say that
believe-
the iPad Nano is one of the world's best products right now.
Right. No. It's the iPod Nano is a piece of garbage.
No, Apple likes to make the world's best products and then leave them around for a little
No,
while.
they never do that.
I feel like they've been doing that more and more.
But they don't. When? For what?
I mean, didn't they just stop selling the original iPad Mini like a month ago?
Yeah, but that was like they sold that to schools until like
that's
the iPod and it's still an iPad. It can like run all the stuff, and the developers are like begrudgingly still supporting it, and like it's an iPad. It's a computer. The iPod Nano is like, my grandma hates me, and this is what I received for Christmas because she didn't read anything before she bought it. Like, I don't know. So shout out to grandmas. I don't know. Yeah. That's like.
It is actually legitimately insane that you can't sync offline Apple Music to them. Like, I don't know. Like what percentage of consumers are going to use this as a vector to steal music? I mean, really.
Here's the move. You sign up for the free trial. You download all the Taylor Swift, and then you cancel a free trial, and then you have one.
And then you never
precious
sync your thing again, so you don't get
iPod.
lost. And you've got an iPod full of Taylor Swift.
By the way,
That's
you know what the
idea.
simple solution to that problem is prompting you to plug in your iPod every week, which you have to do anyway to sync it.
Force you
But isn't
to
that
plug
why
it in.
everyone
That'd be
flipped out about the Xbox One? It was like, hey, you can do all this cool stuff while offline. You just have to make sure you connect to the internet every once in a while. And then everyone flipped out.
Yeah, but
about,
that's an Xbox.
What if my power goes out?
What if but that was hand wringing garbage on the Xbox. Like that was nonsense. Like
Forcing people to plug their thing in once a week just to make sure that it keeps working is pretty
okay, not once,
garbage,
every 3 months.
Okay.
Apple's going to float you 3 months of Taylor Swift.
Right. Oh, so if you have Apple Music on your sync to your iPod, then you have to plug it in once a month. That I get. That I'd be fine with that.
Right? Like it's a
Yeah,
pretty
they could
simple
do that.
demand.
Yeah.
But like they just didn't solve the. Like they just don't care.
You know what that would require is doing any development work whatsoever on the iPod Nano OS.
Type check iPods.
I'm gonna give them a 7.
Wow.
No, that's
Okay,
good.
Apple
That's a good
Music
one.
is like not that thrilling to me anyway. Like you can't listen to the song that Taylor Swift wrote about Jake Gyllenhaal not coming to her birthday party. Why do I need
Who
it?
do you root for in that battle? As a Jake
Well, yeah,
Gyllenhaal
because you're
fan.
maternal for Jake, but you're a Swift hype beast. Those are
No,
words
I have a
used
very
in-
complicated relationship with Taylor Swift.
You went to a
no.
concert.
I did go to a concert. It was amazing, but it's so upsetting on like a really deep, depressing level. Also, like her
I feel like
motivational
you have the
speeches
most
are
complex
so sad.
emotions of anybody at The Verge.
Yeah.
Why aren't you? This whole show should you just you be you should be talking the whole time. All right, wait. So
About neuroses. That's what my Twitter is for.
it's a great again. Okay, so Taylor Swift and Jake Gyllenhaal. Go walk us through a birthday party experience.
Okay, so Taylor Swift and Jake Gyllenhaal dated for about 3 months at the end of 2010, I believe.
Yeah.
And she went to Thanksgiving at Maggie Gyllenhaal's house and wrote a song about it, which is called All Too Well. You should listen to it. It's great.
But you can on Apple Music.
You can listen to that one because it's on Red.
Oh, sure. Okay.
But then he broke up with her by just not showing up at her birthday party at all, or like ever. He ghosted her pretty much.
Yeah.
And she wrote a song about it called The Moment I Knew, but it's really bad and embarrassing and like makes her sound like a total whiny idiot, which is too bad because like he really was a jerk. But anyway, you can't listen to that song on Apple Music.
Where is that song located?
You can listen to it on YouTube.
But so this is like a B-side. It's like a rarity.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't listen to that and you can't listen to the 1989 bonus tracks.
I got it.
Yeah.
Do you know who ghosted me this week or last week?
No.
Alexis Ohanian. Just
Yeah.
hard ghosted me. I was like, hey, what's up with Reddit? Just nothing. We're not browsing.
Is that a transition? Is that
No,
a segue?
I was
It's a good segue.
I'm gonna write a song about
Why was he busy with something?
yeah. You know, while we were on the Vergecast, Reddit posted their new insane content policy.
Yeah, and so the plan is all the horrible, evil, all the really terrible subreddits, all the like vicious subreddits get to stay. You just have to log in to see them. Is that the
Oh.
gist of it?
Really?
I think
I
that's
feel
the
like
gist
the
of it.
person who has at. Never mind. Sorry,
But
I'm
this
gonna-
happened during the Vergecast, so we're learning live, and you're going to listen to this on the podcast like 5 days from now, and you're like, guys, come on, you should know this by now. And I was like, well, you know. So
Wait, so here's a I'm going to quote from the new rules
All
just
right.
because this is what you have to log in when you see it. Another type of content that is difficult to define, but you know it when you see it, is the content that violates a common sense of decency. This classification will require a login and generate no revenue for Reddit. It's like, I don't know, man. I have many feelings about Reddit, but the main one is that they are just constantly recapitulating like 200 years of American First Amendment history.
right.
Like they're trying really hard to be like, we don't want bad stuff, but that's always changing. So we're not going to define bad stuff. And that's their whole like game.
I mean, they're afraid of their community. Is that what's happening?
No, I think this is them saying they're not afraid of their community.
But they just gave the community what they wanted, didn't they? They're like, oh yeah, the bad stuff, it can mostly stay. I mean, who isn't logged into Reddit if you're browsing Reddit?
Well, they're trying.
That
They're
extensively.
basically like they're making two classes of Reddit. There's
Right.
like the mainstream Reddit, and then there's the subreddit. There's the 4chan Reddit. There's like
Okay.
they'll basically like, you know what, you're disgusting. We're not going to put ads on your pages, and we're going to put you behind a login. So you have to create an account to see it.
Right. But they've like hard banned anything that harasses, bullies, or abuses an individual group of people,
Right.
Okay.
which is like, that's a big one.
Yeah, that's important.
I mean, I don't know. It's Reddit. I don't know. I think Reddit has, through this process, they've harmed themselves very deeply.
So do you think it's over? Do you think this is it? We're done? Hooray! No, we're all finished.
Never. The internet has a short memory.
Yeah. Huffman says, this is what we will try. And if the hateful users continue to spill out into the mainstream Reddit, we will try more aggressive approaches. Freedom of expression is important to us. But it's more important to us that we at Reddit be true to our mission.
Hype check Reddit.
3.8.
Okay.
Yeah. The only thing you need Reddit for is looking for Game of Thrones news. That's all you need it for.
All right. What'd you give a 10 to Batman v Superman? Is that what you gave a 10 to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the 10 for
I
the
feel
day.
like this is going to be one of the best comment threads I've ever heard. Like just listing the scores that you gave things. All right. All right. Batman
But
v
no
Superman.
7. She never gave anything a 7.
She did. Just
I
gave.
gave the
was-
iPods a 7.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. World of No Sevens. I've checked the iPods. Do you know this game? Have I played this game with you?
Nope.
This is a game I stole from Locke, our editorial director at Fox. You can't 1 to 10, but no 7 because 7 is the safest one.
Oh, okay. 6.6. We'll do that.
All right.
It's close.
All right.
Is that a fun
def-
game usually, or what?
Yeah, because
I don't know.
because you can't pick a number that's close to 7, right? You usually have to pick an integer. So if you like,
Okay.
because otherwise you would just be like 6.9, right? And it'd be like, haha, that was hilarious, right? Like, because it's
right,
really
okay.
close to 7. So you have to pick 6 or 8.
Gotcha.
Which one is
That
it?
would be fun to play with people. It'd be
No.
so hurtful.
Don't.
Well, this episode of the Vergecast was
on,
brought
is
to
there
you by
anything
a
else?
mattress company and some sort of accounting software. They're never coming back.
I feel like there should be something to say about Reddit, but there's so much that I don't even know where to start.
Oh, there's an
I don't even know
endless
where to
amount
start.
to say about Reddit. We've been doing it's hard. I think the reason I'm like stumbling to say what I'm thinking is like we just did this thing with our comments. But what happened with that was now our forums are great, and the commenters when we turn them on are much better behaved.
Yeah.
And I feel great about our community right now because the people that are choosing to participate with us are doing great stuff, and it's fun and lively. And Reddit can't just turn it off that way. They can't.
Right.
They can't redirect their community in the way that we were able to redirect.
Well, they
their
kind of
community.
did. They turned off some sections.
Kind of. I don't know. The dynamic of what Reddit is and how it's supposed to make money. There aren't enough people in charge of making Reddit stuff.
Right.
Right. They're utterly dependent on this community of people, unpaid labor, to make Reddit every day.
But
And
that's
if-
been working well, hasn't it?
No, they make
not
no
to
money.
monetize, but
Well,
there-
yeah,
there's-
but what is working well, right? Like, what does that mean to you? And I think that dynamic is just really dangerous and bad. That's my big thought about Reddit. Like, they're founded on basically free labor. And when they want to assert control over people volunteering, it's really tough unless they believe in you.
Right, and you have to keep that belief, and you cannot do anything that. You have to be really careful if you do anything that might harm it, like, not talk to your moderators and your most active users
Right.
when you make big changes.
Like, we don't have these questions about, like, I don't know, Habitat for Humanity, right? Like, it's just like, there's like, what's an organization that like relies on people volunteering to make things every day, right? And like, people believe in that mission, and like, Habitat, like, they have rules, but people like believe in the rules.
Right.
You can think of it like a church, like literally any volunteer community-based group. Like, there are rules and there are leaders, and you understand them. Reddit's leaders they do not have the same incentive structure as Reddit's people, right? Like, their job is to make money and have a business, not to like build a society of the internet where all of our brains are in vats and we only communicate to each other with upvotes and downvotes. Reddit is the Matrix, is what I'm saying.
Right. Yeah.
That's what I think. That's what like the broader Reddit community wants Reddit to be the Matrix.
Yeah, I'm just saying like, yeah, because like I fundamentally agree with you, but I also fundamentally.
By the way, I just want to point out that what you fundamentally agreed to was me saying Reddit is the Matrix.
No, like the stuff you're saying, like, there's like so much like to say anything about Reddit.
Yeah.
There's been like so many like unfurlings and Ellen Powell, and they fired Victoria Taylor, and then there were the hate groups, and then there was the celeb stuff before that. Like, there's no way for me to explicate anything about Reddit that isn't immediately and obviously like people just assume what I think about all those disparate things that happened before it, and it's like too big for me to just say, oh, Reddit sucks, or oh, blah blah. But like fundamentally, I think it's the Matrix.
No.
I mean, even now, people are complaining about multiple different things. There's the moderation issue, and then there's the free speech issue, which, I think to some extent are separate. And I think, some Reddit is the people are right to be angry about. I totally understand when Reddit changes how moderation works and when Reddit changes how AMAs work, which is one of the top areas on the site. Mm-hmm. There's reason to be upset about that. But the whole free speech thing, I don't see why Reddit shouldn't just take a hard stance and crack down on that. I mean, it seems like very clear cut from a moral standpoint.
Yeah. I mean, the free speech thing is really dumb. It's like just the dumbest thing.
Yeah.
It is the dumbest critique that is leveled at Reddit. It's the dumbest critique that's leveled at us. These are companies, they're platforms.
Right. But if
not
Reddit
bastions
as a
of free
company
speech.
wants to build it into their charter that they are dedicated to some sort of more radical free speech proposition, and not just say, no, you know what, it's the internet, go talk elsewhere. We don't need you to have you here in our house or in our basement or whatever. Put it in the charter. Don't like eventually work your way towards that, like by referencing stuff that was said in a little, Reddit comment, and then like watch it evolve. We did that thing about was Reddit always about free speech. We like track the evolution of what they
Reddit launched that
said about
comment.
that.
The most interesting thing that I learned
Yeah.
from that piece. It's wild. All right. Reddit.
All right.
It's all over
Yeah.
the internet. All right. Do you know how to do Sam's list of engagements, or should I do it?
I do not know Sam's list of engagements.
Pick 3 social networks that The Verge is on and tell people to follow.
Oh, cool.
How to follow us.
Okay, so we're on Twitter at Verge and Snapchat, The Real Verge, and Tumblr, theverge.tumblr.com.
Kaitlyn runs our Tumblr. I don't know
Yeah.
if that's obvious to everyone.
Kaitlyn runs our Tumblr and talks about Channing Tatum.
Do you feel maternal towards Channing Tatum?
No.
Okay.
But I do like him a lot because he wants to show Step Up to his grandkids and be like, that's where I fell in love with your grandma. So cute.
The Verge is hiring is the next note on my thing, which is true. We're hiring all sorts of people. So we're hiring lots of video people in New York. Please let us know.
Yep.
Car reporters. Chris Sigler is hiring car reporters at Maniac. We're hiring a junior reporter in Silicon Valley, and we're hiring a staff photographer, which makes me very excited. So that's theverge.com/jobs. You can find us on iTunes, itunes.com/Verge. I don't know how you want to rate this episode. Maybe just hold back. Actually, no. Hit it. I figured out what you should do. Go to iTunes, give us 5 stars, and then hype check something in the style of Kaitlyn Tiffany.
Yeah. In your review.
No, I don't mean hype check Kaitlyn. I mean in the style of
Yeah,
Kaitlyn.
yeah.
Offer it a very precise number, and then a bleak and depressing reason.
Yeah, this is not going to go well for us.
We have 2 other shows that you should listen to. Vergecast with Emily and Liz, which is absolutely great. And What's Tech with Chris Plant, which is also absolutely great. All at the itunes.com/Verge. Kaitlyn, I promised people your Twitter handle. What's your Twitter handle?
Oh, it's K_Tiffany18.
There you go.
Nice.
I'm telling you, one of my favorite Twitter experiences at The Verge. Dieter is Backlon. I'm Reckless. Jake.
Jake_K.
Yep. My man. Jake, it's so shocking that you've never been on this show before. You should be back.
Gladly, I'm right upstairs.
Yeah, the 2 of you. We're just going to have a show with the 2 of you. It's great. Anyway, that was it. That was Vergecast. Thank you to everybody for listening. Thank you for surviving this with us. Thank you for waiting in line at Comic-Con with Jake. Thank you for going to Pluto. Thank you, outer space. Goodbye.
Rock and roll.
Bye.